This is the SAU Report, a program featuring interviews with the faculty, staff, students, and alumni of Southern Arkansas University in Magnolia.
Welcome to this edition of the SAU Report. I'm Amanda Weber.
And I'm Jordan Babineaux. Today, we have a Students' Issues Forum discussing items of interest with Southern Arkansas University students. Our guests today are Dinorah Balthazar and Jonathan Wolfe. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Dinorah, being from Dominica, how did you find out about Southern Arkansas University?
Well, I first heard about Southern Arkansas University through my sister while we were going through the college application process, and then I researched more about it on their website.
And so, how was the registration process?
Well, once I understood what I had to do, because it was a bit tricky, trying to find a correct advisor, what have you, then it went rather smoothly choosing my courses.
Well, speaking of that, Jonathan, do you feel like SAU offers enough degree plans for everyone's opportunities?
Well, they offer what's available around, but like as we talked about before, and certain degrees, larger degrees, I guess you could say, are more technical. Maybe architecture, of course. That's one degree that I don't believe is offered here, and we have a wide variety of degrees, but mainly your biggest focus here on campus is business, and from what I get, and registration, as she was talking, registration is an interesting subject. I'm a transfer student, and I came from the University of Arkansas, where registration was a little bit different. We did a registration over the phone. You didn't have to go through an advisor, which I found very interesting. So, you got a catalog like you do here, but instead of going to an advisor and typing it in the computer and having to have a password, all you did was call the phone. And as long as you had your password onto the, your own password, then you could register.
Quick.
Made it definitely quick and easy. An advisor is important to have because he can keep you on track in case you were to mess up. But like for instance, is dropping a class. I don't really understand the need of an advisor to drop a class. It's your class, so and you could go online or on the phone rather, and just drop the class, and as long as you didn't drop out of school, you were probably going to be all right.
Well, and speaking of the degrees offered from SAU, do you feel like the facilities on campus are what the right amount of facilities are needed and that we have for the degrees?
I'm not sure I can answer that very well. Because of course you have Agri, and I know that we have a large amount of like farm space, and so I'm sure that's definitely good for them. But as far as you have broadcasting journalism or theater or anything like that. The office space is kind of small, but it's not a large college, so you don't expect a whole abundance of facilities or even a bunch of instructors, because you just don't have the student body to support it. So.
Right.
Well, Dinorah, tell me, how did the registration process differ from being here at SAU than what it was at first before you came here?
Well, our college system is different on the whole than the American system. We follow the British system. So after high school, you go to a 2-year community college where you do about 3 or 4 subjects. It's not really a major, it's more like something we specialize in, so to speak. So I did literature, French, and history, as well as use of English course, and you follow that for 2 years. So the registration process is much simpler, because once you do those 3 subjects, those are the 3 subjects, and then after you follow the syllabus, what have you. Here you have different courses for a particular major. You have to go through an advisor. You have a minor, and if you don't take such and such a course, and if you don't take that course, then you might not graduate, though you have most of your courses. So it's a lot more complex.
A whole other world, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's an emphasis, and then you have, for instance, I'm majoring in mass communications, but I have emphasis broadcast journalism and a minor, and then you have 40 hours of junior senior level classes. It's just so much to remember.
Yeah.
Well, talking to you earlier, I believe that you stated something about being able to take 2 different English courses, and it kind of bored you. Comment on that for us.
Well, I did literature for 2 years under the A-level system, and we did a variety of works including Hamlet, Wife of Bath, and various 18th and 19th century American and British authors, what have you. And what I wanted to do, I wanted to take Composition 2 and Lit 1 concurrently. But I was told that I needed to take Composition 2 in one semester and then the follow-up semester do Lit 1. And I found that it was difficult for me because I just wanted, to get it over with. Seeing that if I did not have such a broad base in literature, but I already had that emphasis, the majority of books I have already done for 2 years and then having to come and do it all over again. To begin with, I probably should just have been allowed to clap it out, and if I was competent enough in the course, then move ahead. But
so the course is kind of bored you a little
right,
bit.
it sort of slows you down. It's a lot of
sets you back. Time
red
that
tape
feel
and
like.
stuff. Yeah.
Right. Well, Jonathan, you said that you transferred from University of Arkansas. What do you feel about the parking here different from the parking at University of Arkansas? Because as I understand, it's such big, it's so big, you're lucky to even find a parking spot there. Well, here, we're lucky if we can find one just close to the building. What is your comment about the parking?
Well, the parking around SAU is, and now I'm off campus, of course, and so I drive a lot, and I buy a sticker, and which is a good thing if you don't want to take it. But like for instance, they're working on new parking, and out across from where the old armory was, they're working on parking. Well, that's where, there's always a parking spot there usually, so that's where I usually park. Well, now it's closed off because they're making new parking, so it kind of makes it hard on a lot of off-campus people who drive, because on-campus people usually already have their cars parked, so they don't have to worry about it, but it's the off-campus commuters that
have the trouble with it.
Yeah, have to look for a parking spot, and I guess that's maybe the price you pay. Now, I was off-campus commuter at University of Arkansas, and there are occasions when it's hard to find a parking spot there, or you're going to walk a long ways. And of course, walking on that campus is a lot different because you're going to walk a long ways regardless of where you're going. Of course, not to say it's a bad thing here on campus, because they are working on it, they are trying to improve it.
Sure.
But it's just kind of funny because they haven't improved it since I've been here, and I've been here for quite some time. So hopefully it'll get better, and maybe before I leave this school, or before my kids leave this school, they'll have a parking spot around campus or something like that. But it's not a bad thing.
Well, Jonathan, let us talk about the type of improvements and construction proposals that SAU has made to get on way. How do you feel like that is appealing, or is going to be appealing to our prospective students who plan to attend SAU?
I think that's important. Anytime you can take pride in your school, it's nice. When you can, you go to a place and you look around and you look at it like, this is a pretty campus. I've traveled some to other campuses, and you look at some other schools, and they're, Division I schools, and I'm using a sports emphasis, but definitely a nice campus. But even smaller colleges such as SAU or any other ones around the state can have a very attractive campus. And I think that it can definitely promote and provide incoming students, or possibly incoming students, something to look forward to, because they take pride in their school. Whereas they drive around campus and they think this is a pretty school to come to. Mm-hmm. They take care of it. That means they take pride in themselves, which hopefully they'll take pride in me too, being a student.
Well, Dinorah, you said you found out about SAU on the internet and from your sister. What did you really think about when you came to the campus and saw the campus? Were you pleased, or were you kind of disappointed in how big it was?
I knew that it was going to be a small school. My sister had already gone through college in the States, so of course she knew how to compare. So 3,000, SAU has about 3,000 students. So I knew I was going to go to a small school. And then I'm a city girl, and Magnolia it's country. So I had sort of braced myself for that and everything. I watch television. Everybody watches television, and you already have an idea about the South as opposed to North. Because I've been to the States before, New York all the time, and it's a whole different world. It's like you're just like crossing different worlds here. But so I wouldn't say like I was really shocked. I expected it, so I really had braced myself for it. When I saw all those cows and pastures, I was like, okay, this is what I braced myself for. But one thing I love about being in the South, studying in the South, it's just a much friendlier climate. New York, it's sort of like everybody goes about their own business, and that's it.
You don't have time to smile or.
Right. I have received what you really call Southern hospitality. I mean, you walk out and everyone's like, good morning, ma'am. I was like, okay, good morning. Yeah, so it's been great in that sense. But I'm really a city girl, so I miss all the hustle and bustle of the city.
Well, you said you are a city girl, and we are in the South, and Little Magnolia, and we're doing construction on parking. Do you feel like you're safe on campus, like the security's all right? And when you are walking, I'm sure, do you live on campus?
Yeah, I live on campus.
If you're walking around, do you feel like it's well lit? Do you feel safe on campus?
Yeah, I feel safe. I've never really felt threatened per se. I mean, it's a small community, so I mean, basically, like, everybody knows everybody. That's not to say that something bad couldn't happen,
right.
But I mean, you see the police doing their patrol, and most likely whenever I'm walking with a friend of mine.
Which is smart.
Exactly. So I don't feel, I mean, usually you go from one building to the next, another building to the next. You don't just like roam around campus per se unless you're with somebody else. So I've never really felt threatened, like, no. I feel relatively safe, and as far as safe can go, that's not really a thing. And then they brought the cameras in now, so, I mean.
Yeah, we've got cameras everywhere now.
Yeah.
Well, Jonathan, let me ask you, do you attend any sports functions or of any sort?
Occasionally.
You used to play golf.
Oh, well, yeah, but it's hard to attend that. And but that's run out of eligibility, of course. But as far as sports functions, occasionally now I work with the local radio station here, so a lot of the sports events now we do on the radio for the school, and so I'm usually have to work a lot. But I do occasionally attend some basketball games, a football game or so here and there. As I mentioned, I am from the University of Arkansas. I came from the University of Arkansas, and it was a big difference, a big transition, because I go from a school that really promotes their sports. And to a point, I mean, of course, nationally televised games, and you're in, of course, it's a Division I too, and where sports is a very big part of it, to a place where sports isn't that emphasized, and so it was kind of, it took me a while to get into SAU sports,
Right.
But definitely I enjoy attending them, and of course, it's whenever you know somebody who's playing and you want to root for them.
It helps out so much.
So it's, and on a campus like this, it's kind of easy to do that because there's not a lot of people, whereas, you may not know anybody on the team at another school that's larger,
And it's so true. For instance, in high school, you knew everyone.
Right.
Everyone wanted to go to the football games because everyone knew everyone. And for instance, I cheer, and it's so much better when you know those football players out there playing, and that way, you have something to talk about afterwards, and you know them personally. Dinorah, what kind of activities did y'all have back home?
Well, we don't really have cheerleaders per se. It's funny, our cheerleaders don't really cheer at the games. They sort of like demonstrate their talents during carnival, so it's like a different system, really.
So not really cheer. Huh?
No, they don't really cheer. They perform, if you will. But we had netball, we had basketball. I went to an all-girls school, so we didn't have basketball, but we definitely had netball. The emphasis was more on netball. So
what is netball?
Netball, let me see, what can I compare it to? Basically, you get to hold the ball in your hands a lot, and you toss it. But whenever you have the ball, it's not like basketball. When you have the ball, you can move anywhere you want once you dribble.
So there's no walking?
Once you have the ball, no walking. You can get called out for that. You have to stay there and send to the other person. So it's very limiting. It was limiting to me. But I think it's a British sport. Yeah, so that was what the emphasis was all about. I played that for about 2 years, but
Well, you're an athlete then.
No, I'm not.
Well, Jonathan,
Didn't
let me
play very
ask you, as a student, what are some of the things that you see the university can do to promote athletic activities that go on?
Well, I mean, anytime, and of course they promote it in different ways. Of course, like we said, we call, a lot of them are broadcast on the radio.
Right.
But as far as being, a small school in a small town, where sometimes the high school outranks the college, it kind of makes
really
it
does.
tough. And one of the big things is, you look back and you think of people that support programs. A lot of them will be graduates of the school, will be alumni. And not saying a lot of alumni here in town, but there's also, I mean, being a small place, there's not going to be a lot that's always going to stay here, so a lot will move around. So it's kind of hard to really get out there and promote it. I mean, I guess in a sense for SAU to promote it, they really just have to use some resources, because they're not going to want to go out and probably spend a whole bunch of money on it.
Right.
But use resources that that they already have at the school, like maybe get some students involved and do like a broadcasting in the broadcasting department, and go out and maybe film the games and show them on the local TV channel or something like that, the public access TV or something, to promote it and to get more people in the community involved that will bring them to the games that will promote the sports, and in any sport, not just football, but basketball, baseball, or anything else that goes along with that.
Well, the sports are on broadcast over radio, and I understand that you do work with Mr. Dan. But do you think that the game should be broadcast on television per se, like a local news channel, local channel in the area that? Like
Channel 13, all they do is just, those still shots, and it just puts up memos of what's going on. What if, 2 hours, once a week even, that they broadcasted that?
I could see where it would be hard for them to get that across, because they would have to obviously get sponsors, and again, it goes back to drawing interest to whatever you're doing. So if if you have a football game, you really have to have the interest out there that would want to watch, that would make people want to sponsor with that, because obviously they're not going to want to sponsor to nobody.
Right.
And so it would make it tough. And so I guess in general, the biggest thing is for either just promoting or for on campus or promoting in the community is you just have to, you're going to have to get out there and really push, in a sense, sell your sport. And I mean the school doing it, obviously, I know that this year at the Relay for Life, I saw several football players out there at the Relay for Life walking, and I'm sure there were other sports. That was the only ones I saw at the time, because they were wearing the jerseys. But doing community activities will definitely draw interest, to that. But it would take a lot to really get out and promote it, and in a sense that would promote it on campus, plus maybe possibly get it on a public access network or something like that.
Well, speaking of sports, Dinorah, do you ever go to any football games or anything?
Yes, I have gone to football games.
Well, they're using all this money to put in new cameras, and we're building new facilities. What do you think about putting a little extra cash into athletics and maybe building a new gym or a new football field?
That would be excellent. Personally, I'm not an athlete, but I was pretty enthusiastic about the football games. I had never been to a American football game, I should say. So it was great going to the stadium and stuff, but it's cold. When it's rainy, it's nothing but the love of God that's keeping you there.
That's right. The love of the sport keeps you there.
Yeah. Keeps you there. So that'd be great.
Hot or cold, whatever, you have to stick around for it.
Well, the atmosphere most certainly is different being out there. What can some of the things be done, Dinorah or Jonathan, to get more crowd participation, get the crowd involved into the sports?
That's right. How can we get them to yell back with this SAU and to get them more involved in the game?
Well, I was very enthusiastic. I was a trooper, because it was like me and my international posse, if you will. We would go there and we would just be yelling. SAU would be mimicking the cheerleaders and the strutters. It was all fun for us. So I don't know about the rest of the people. Seeing the marching band, everybody really puts their all. It's just so much energy going into this. Just loving the sport alone, just being curious about it is great. But I guess they could also have different activities, like try to involve the crowd more in terms of like having a door prize, I don't know.
Something like that.
Something, just...
Well, let me tell you, we throw footballs to the fans, and it ends up being a battle to get down to the cheerleaders before we can throw the footballs.
I haven't caught one yet.
Well,
I've not caught one.
Jonathan, do we need to throw more footballs, do you think, or basketballs during the game, or volleyballs, or...
I don't know. It's an interesting point. Like she said, more crowd participation. Of course, anytime you have the marching band comes out or the cheerleaders are out there, you'd hope that they'd want to respond. But it's like maybe, I don't know. Any fan wants a winning program.
Right.
We've had a winning program in the last few years, and so you kind of question, well, why isn't the enthusiasm there? What is missing? And I'm not real sure what that'd be. That's something that would need research. I don't know if I can just give an answer. It's like definitely crowd participation. If you had like contests, maybe you had a field goal kicking contest at halftime that would really excite people to come. Because even if you weren't out there, you'd love to see one of your friends go out there look like an idiot. Just knowing they can't kick a field goal.
Or who can throw the football the furthest?
So,
something like that.
Stuff like that would really bring interest. And would probably help a lot. And as far as a full-time, I say fix, that's something that would really need to be looked into.
Well, you know, even that, if they did do it, and the winner could get a football signed by all the football players, or, you know, baseball, all the baseball players sign it, you know, something goofy and fun, maybe a free T-shirt, you know, just something so that you can have, like, prize me, like, I won this, you know, look what I
know,
did.
if you did like T-shirts, you know, and you could make it, of course, you know, they do intramural T-shirts for champions.
Right.
But you could do a T-shirt that, and I'm a big T-shirt freak. I love T-shirts. I wear T-shirts all the time, and whatever they say on them. And if you had a T-shirt that said something like, "I won the kicking contest," you know, and they're going to be proud to wear that just because I mean, for me it'd be a T-shirt, and get out there and wear it. But I mean, you're going to see that on campus, and then it would kind of, in a sense, relate back to all the students, and then it would kind of
promote.
Yeah, promoting. It's a self-promoting thing, so that would be a definite, I think, a benefit.
Or even recognize them during the football games, like,
definitely.
you know, the all-time
Past champions, you know.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the year, you have all 10, or how many games y'all play? 11, I think?
Yeah,
10,
11.
11. And at the last home game, however many, of course, you won't have 11 home games, I don't guess, but 5, you'd have like 5 champions, and they all compete for the grand prize of, I don't know, something, maybe $100 or something.
Yeah, I mean, a TV from Walmart, if they could donate a TV, you know, anything like that. Well, speaking of sports and everything, what about the extracurricular activities on campus? Are you involved in any, Dinorah?
Well, for example, I'm taking part in 2 plays that are coming up, the 10-minute plays. So I try to take part in as many activities as possible. Sometimes it's difficult. I know, for example, my hall, the RA is always playing little, you know, shows, a little something, a little contest. You know, I've won one of those. So I try to get involved as much as possible, and I'm a very active participant in the International Students Association as well.
And what about you, Jonathan? Do you do anything extra than come to class and look for a parking spot?
That is a lot of it. Now, recently we had the play, the musical, and I was in the musical here on campus. And that took a lot of time because for about 6 weeks we practiced every night, so I was on campus a lot.
Oh, yeah.
It's not hard to find a parking spot.
Oh, no, not at nighttime. Everyone
But that's one thing. And then for the last 4 years I've participated in the choir. And it's a class, so it's really not extracurricular, but we do have like choir concerts after at different times on the weekends and stuff. And so that's pretty much the extent. Encore, I mean, if you can call that an extracurricular, that's class too. But I mean, we get out and we promote SAU and dance and sing, and so those few things. But I'm not on campus enough to really get involved in something, or to have really the desire to get involved in something. Not that you can't do it when you're off campus.
Right.
Well, Dinorah, I know you've been here a year now.
Yeah.
How has your experience been here at SAU?
It has had more ups and downs, I definitely have to say. I mean, coming here, by myself, I mean, coming worlds away, and I came to the South, and I was really embraced, and I have lots of very good friends here. I never expected to make that many friends, you know, I have a very tight network. I went to as many extracurricular activities as possible, you know, football, a little bit of basketball.
Trying to get involved.
Trying to get involved. So, I mean, it was great, and then most of my classes, I should say, most, were fun, I mean, so.
Right. Well, that's exciting. When you get involved in school, it makes the time go by so much quicker.
Exactly.
You know, 4 years you think, oh my gosh, and you know now it's the end of my second. I'm like, where did my last 2 years go? They just go by so quick when you get involved.
Well, speaking of, I don't really change the subject, but I just wanted to know, I was interested in knowing that what are some of the advantages and disadvantages of being an international student here in the States?
Well, being an international student, I'll start with the advantages first. Seeing that you come from a different background and you're coming to the United States, I mean, then you meet people of other different backgrounds, and being an international student and taking part in the International Students Association, I mean, I've gotten to meet people from every corner of the world, and I feel that that has given me more of an advantage as opposed to an American student who's probably not in ISA. The disadvantage is that your school system might be different to the American system, so it takes time to adjust.
Right.
Right.
Well, we want to thank you all for joining us today
very
on the
much.
SAU
Thank you.
Report. We want to thank you all for watching. I'm Jordan Babineaux.
And I'm Amanda Weber.
The The SAU Report is a production of broadcast journalism students in the Department of Theater and Mass Communication at Southern Arkansas University in Magnolia.